Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Fatima from grade 8A. As usual, I'm posting an assignment video, this time for science practical exam. FYI, my science teacher is Mr. Jazzer Emmanuel Eusebio, and that is very important for me to mention so that I'll get a good grade. The purpose of this video is for me to conduct two different types of simple and safe science experiment, one about static electricity and radiation. For this first experiment, all you need to prepare is a plastic wrapper and an aluminum foil. So you have these two items lying around in your kitchen. Go ahead, pause this video, grab these items, and let's do this together. For the second experiment, you'll need a thermometer, dark colored soil, light colored soil, and water, all in 3 separate beakers. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is to tear a small piece of your aluminum foil and roll it into a metal ball such as these. And I have a magic trick to show you guys. Do you know that I'm also a magician? So on the count of 5, there will be 20 metal balls in front of you. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so this is enough for me. Okay, so to be honest, there were failure in the middle of my experiment. What I learned is that my metal balls were way too huge. Look at this. It's a huge lump of aluminum versus what I have now. Secondly, my plastic wrapper was way too thin. I'm gonna show the clip in the BTS on the end of the video, but for now, I'm just gonna show you what I use to improvise. So this is what I have now. This is a clear plastic folder. It's way thicker. And also, if you want to rub it with cloth, make sure you only go one direction, and this does take some time for the static electricity to build up. So I'm gonna pause the video and show you what it looks like when I'm done. So let's test it out finally. We'll see. Woo! Yay! Look at him go. Oh, okay. So it wears out after a while, but that was pretty cool. Now let's move on to the second experiment. This magic occurs because of static electricity, as like charges repel and opposite charges attract. More electrons means that an object is negatively charged, hence more protons are positively charged. The raw plastic wrapper becomes negatively charged as the electrons from your hands are transferred to the wrapper. When you put it on top of the aluminum balls, the side with more protons attract, whilst the side with more electrons repel. This creates the motion of jumping or dancing. On to the last experiment of this video. You're going to need 2 different types of soil. I have the dark humus soil and the silvery soil. Also, water. Make sure that you've measured these 3 ingredients in a measuring cup to make sure that they're all equal in order to conduct a fair test. I've done that before, and if you don't have these type of glass beaker, a normal jar would work as well. And what's so important is this thermometer to measure the temperature changes every 10 or 20 minutes. These are the 2 useful optional tools that I didn't mention in the introduction of my video. The first one is this digital timer. You can just look at the clock manually to tell the time before measuring the changes in 3 materials. But using this, it's going to be way more practical and precise. And this one, you're of course going to need a media to record the changes, because in order to know whether the experiment works or not, you have to know what is expected and see whether the results are accurate enough or close to the expectations. It doesn't necessarily need to be a bar graph. It can be a linear graph or anything you can think of to visualize the changes. Okay, so let's begin. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is to measure the initial temperature of these 3 materials, starting with water. Well, you want to make sure when you're recording temperature using these type of thermometer is to see whether the red liquid is still moving or not. When it's frozen and it's stick to one place, then you can be sure that it's the legit temperature of the material you're observing. and I'm quite sure that my water temperature is 25 degrees. So I'm going to measure the rest of my materials and record it for another few upcoming 10 minutes and share you guys. Okay, so this is my final result. It's impossible for me to record the whole process for it's up to 40 minutes, and I don't think it's necessary to conduct the experiment for 1 hour because we're already starting to see a trend. As expected, dark soil emits the most light, water the least, and light soil in between. It was honestly very hard for me to measure the accurate temperature, especially because I don't exactly use sunlight, but my room is very light concentrated. Just in front of my 3 materials, I have 5 very bright lights, but yeah, when I measure, the changes aren't really contrast. It's hard to tell the difference as well, but after some few trial and errors, we get these results, and I think it's pretty representative and accurate to what is expected. You'll find that the dark soil gains temperature more rapidly than the rest of the materials. This is because dark objects absorb more radiation than reflecting it. That also explains why sometimes people tell you that wearing black clothes will make you hot on a summer day. If you compare the light-colored soil with water, the graph will show you that the light-colored soil is still hotter because water has a very reflective surface, so it does not absorb much radiation. Thank you very much for watching my video. I hope you learned something, is somewhat entertained, and is maybe inspired to conduct a simple and safe science experiment at home during quarantine. If you do like this video, please comment and like down below. I'll see you in another school assignment, but until then, goodbye. One about static electricity and radiation.